Good evening, everyone. 6 o'clock, please rise for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. It's 6 o'clock. It's March 18th. Please be advised this meeting is being recorded. First up,
Motion to accept the minutes for March 4th.
I made some corrections, but pending those corrections, I have a motion.
My motion?
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
need a motion for the March 6th budget workshop.
I'll motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Warrant number 20, general, $276.85. Water, $9,206.47, totaling $74,483.32. There was a voided check for $2,171.78. It was duplicate payment. Payroll number 21, $96,741.05, and there's no transfers.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Be advised that the mayor has submitted the preliminary budget. It'll be be available tomorrow. Check out their copies in the office, and it'll be on the website tomorrow. And all the board members have gotten them electronically.
And I believe we can download it to
Yeah.
Mike's point.
Yeah, it's gonna be on the website, you should be able to download it.
What format's that in, do you know?
It's gonna be a PDF.
I think we can put it as an XLS though,
If
which,
you,
I don't know.
if it can be done in whatever
Yeah,
spreadsheet
yeah.
format, Excel,
Uh,
or CSV, that would
yeah,
be.
I think a CSV would probably be the best, so that somebody could import it into sheets or whatever. Don, can you make note of that, please?
And then just to let the board members know, there's no changes to the preliminary budget until after the public hearing, because the notice went out, and it's been in the paper, so. And after the public hearing, they have to be changed, if you have changes, they have to be done by resolution.
Okay, so I just like to go through with some highlights of the budget, as to where we ended up with some additions of subtractions and, some reconciliations based on the feedback that we discussed, at the budget workshop. The board has been provided a list of those changes, and just to summarize, all things considered, the, requested rate increase is 2.51%, which is $9.13, per thousand. The changes that were made based on the budget workshop were, JCAP funding was, 25,000. We showed a revenue piece that was to match that expense so that the money coming in matches the money going out. I have a call in to discuss with the, Tilbecker Sarmonte Partners, our auditor. Fees. Let's see, I removed the labor line from deputy clerk from the water and sewer department. And then we also inserted Cheryl, since Cheryl is now working for water and sewer, taking payments and such. Part of her salary will go into both of those accounts. In the fire department, I moved, for some reason, the fire department has been paying the heat utility for this building. I moved that from fire's budget to building's budget. Let's see, DWI patrol, for the expense on that, I put in money in the revenues so that balances, at least in majority. The cost for the Everett Bridge service has been moved from economic opportunity, to the clerk's office. That's a clerk function. It should come out of that budget. The community coordinator salary was in economic development, and I moved that piece to celebrations. Under economic development, there was a $5,000 CDTA bike program. I removed this expense. Under youth, we added $1,200 for the baseball insurance because we're going to be paying for that going forward, as the board, approve that. Or agreed to that. On the revenue section, and looking at the utility receipt tax, I reduced this to 75,000 based on what we've been receiving. 100,000 just does not seem like it's a realistic number, so I reduced that to 75,000. To be a little more conservative there. Same thing with cannabis revenue. In looking at what their sales have been, in relation, to expected, I reduced that from 100,000 to 75,000. And based on a 50-50 split, that's an appropriate number to be conservative on. As I said, Cheryl's salary will partially be split between water and sewer accounts, similar to how Nicole's salary was as a deputy treasurer. After discussions with EFC, and the controller's office, the treasurer has been advised to remove those bond payments, which we had anticipated initially coming out of this year's budget. They will not hit until a prior year's budget. So those are not necessarily necessary in our funding of those programs for this fiscal year. The fire department expenses were changed to add some additional money, exactly as they had submitted. Street lighting was reduced by 20,000 because of the efficiency of the LED conversion. While our consumption is substantially lower, the rate that National Grid charges for that delivery of that power has increased by almost the same amount, but it still results in a $20,000 a year savings based on the bills we've been receiving. And I think that's it. So all things considered, we're at 2.51%. Oh, what's next?
Matt, you're up.
All right.
Good evening.
Hi, Matt.
Rules Board. How are you? Matt Rogers with Labella. Last Friday, we received an email from the Albany Rural Cemetery stating that they are in the process of replacing their existing crematorium. And they provided the tax map parcel where they're proposing to build this. And it is land that they own, but the land is currently zoned residential 1, which is like a holdover from probably 10 years ago when the zoning map was changed originally. And then it wasn't picked up when we revised the zoning last time. So I provided color maps to the village board that identifies the two parcels. The larger one that is an L shape, upside down L shape, I think. That's the Albany County, or the Albany Rural Cemetery property. And there's another one adjacent to that that's owned by National Grid that has overhead power lines. So the proposal is to essentially bring the zoning map into compliance with the existing land uses and rezone the R1 owned by Albany Cemetery to the cemetery zoning district, which the village had previously created. That allows for the crematorium. And zone the approximately 1 acre parcel owned by National Grid to Broadway Business District, which just makes sense because the adjacent zoning district is Broadway, as opposed to just leaving another 1 acre residential parcel hanging out there for no reason. This won't impact National Grid because it's a utility, it's existing, but this zoning change is required for the cemetery to construct the crematorium. We'll look at the crematorium as part of the seeker for this, just to avoid what's called segmentation, because we're making the zoning change because it should be changed to cemetery use. But it was precipitated by the request to build the crematorium. In the current zoning, crematorium is allowed, or cemeteries are allowed as of right, which includes the crematorium. So once the zoning change is made and the cemetery comes to the village, all they'll need is a building permit. We won't go before the village board, but we will conduct a general environmental analysis of that change from residential to cemetery. It's currently being utilized by, or at least it's under their ownership. There's no active use of this property, but it's adjacent to their existing crematorium and, main office gate, which is just, over in the town of Colony. So they're working with the state through their permits. This won't hold up their process. This has to go to the county. We'll also have to go to the town of Colony. And based upon the county's schedule, the village board won't be able to consider this for approval until, April, or I think early May, actually. So, but this has to have a public hearing. That's why we wanted to get it in today, last minute. Don't like to do things last minute, but we want to get this moving for the cemetery. So this doesn't delay any of their future plans. So that's the resolution that's before you, is to rezone 2 parcels. One to cemetery and one to Broadway Business District. Schedule a public hearing.
Are those 2 separate matters, Matt?
No, it would be one. You know, the zoning change, the local law is changing these 2 parcels. And so it would be one public hearing. And we'll handle the referral to the county for the planning board review, and I'll work with Don to get the notice to the town of Colony. Public hearing.
Anyone have any
So you want to
questions?
schedule the public hearing for the first, we think the first one in May? First meeting in May?
I mean, in April.
Or do you want to do it in April or May?
Yeah, I'd rather do it as soon as we can.
Oh,
Just need the 10-day.
I don't know if, I mean, it's fine. We have the budget,
Yeah, this public hearing can only take a few minutes.
Okay.
It's not like this.
You can do it.
okay, that's fine.
Second
I don't have any questions about this before we need a motion.
I mean, can we just push it to the 15th? Do we have to do both of them the same night?
It'll be.
There's nothing that says we've got to do the hearing right away. Like I said, we got time because we have to wait for the county to review it. So the 15th.
So the 15th.
In agreement on the 15th?
Yes. I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
And it's gonna be local law number 2 for the 2024.
Yep.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you. Did you want me to stick around for anything? Nope. But
Social media.
Okay, on Friday of last week, the Supreme Court ruled on a case involving municipalities and public office and social media. Steve, you wanna give a summary of the ruling and how it?
Sure. The Supreme Court ruled that social media accounts that are maintained by public officials, that they cannot ban, any postings to those social media accounts for, because of First Amendment issues. But it also provided that any social media accounts that a public official might have that they're using for private purposes, that they can ban people from accessing or posting to those accounts. So in a nutshell, anything used for official village business is open to the public, open to postings by the public, because the courts recognize that there's a First Amendment issue there. Any individual account that you have that might be used privately, Facebook, Instagram, or whatever, as long as it's not being used for village business, you can ban people from posting to that.
So the question in this case becomes, the Village of Menands official Facebook page. Can we turn off the ability for the public to comment, since it's for information purposes only? And that's what some municipalities that we learned in NICOM have done, so that you either have to accept all comments or decline all comments. You can't pick and choose which comments,
Right.
you know what I mean, are there.
Right.
So that's the debate I'd like to have you know, here at the board level.
Yeah,
Because if somebody on our village Facebook page wanted to talk about Hitler,
they could.
they could. So the suggestion that Rebecca Rosito, who's the attorney at NICOM, who basically has provided some guidance on this, has suggested is that they turn off all comments.
Yeah.
The ability for anyone to comment on the village Facebook page. It's for, the village Facebook page is for informational purposes only. So I just wanted to throw that out there and see what, you know, what everyone thought about that.
I absolutely support that.
Leaving it available?
No, taking off, all comments. 'Cause, I mean, you post about the
That's nice.
picnic, thank you, Matt, or any of, village picnic, Easter, party, with, any of those things. It's for informational purposes only. We're not starting a debate on it. You wanna, if you have an issue, bring it to the board
And
here.
that's the point of why she advised that Facebook is not a public, what's considered a public forum. This is what's
Right.
considered a public forum.
Exactly.
So, Molly?
I think turning it off sends the wrong message,
Mhm.
but
I mean, do
we haven't gotten any, I mean, I've been posting on the social media more than we have in the last like 6 months, in the last 3 weeks, and no one has commented anything.
If anything.
that's what I was just gonna ask. How many comments do we get?
The
people
only thing
ask
people
questions,
commented on was
if
when I
anything.
posted to rent the park, they tagged people in the post, like that they could come and rent the park now, like it was open. That's the only thing people have commented on. Like, people like it, they share it, but no one comments on anything. So I don't think that at this point in time, it's something that we need to.
I don't have a great concern with having to
Okay.
disallow it.
Just understand with the Supreme Court
Right.
case that
Yes.
there is the possibility that somebody could say that I have a right to post whatever they want to post.
But if we at some point in the future decide otherwise, could we still shut off all the comments? I mean, is that?
But probably by resolution.
I'd like to take, I haven't seen the opinion from NICOM. Was that in writing or over the phone?
It's in writing. It's a source document, like a opinion piece that she did. I can provide that to the board for everyone to just look at it. So I'm not suggesting,
For
I'm not
example-
advised, I'm not opinion. I just wanted us to talk about it.
Sure.
Because the Supreme Court case was only from Friday. I think it was relevant that we discuss
As-
this.
You know, the example the mayor just gave of somebody writing about, we'll say, Hitler or whatever. I've got to imagine that those are postings that can be taken down because they're incendiary.
You can hide the comment.
Yeah,
You just
you can
can't
hide.
ban them from being able to comment on it.
Yeah, I'll provide the NICOM.
So you
opinion
can't
piece.
ban the commenter.
Exactly.
You can hide the post. You can hide those comments.
But I could.
I don't know if you can hide the post unless it's deemed, but unless it's deemed to be,
A violation of
a
Facebook.
threat.
No. I mean, whatever the post is that they commented on,
Right,
can
you
be
could-
removed
you
because
could.
it's our post.
Yeah.
Well, you could. I guess my concern, with not making this policy now is the same as, look, I've never had a fire at my house, so why should I have smoke detectors? Well, for when you do have it. So, you know, in this case, just because it didn't have one, on the, an event that we had, that wasn't, there was no issue, but something happens in the spring, something happens in the summer, something happens a year from now. I think that we need to follow these things. And again, maybe it hasn't happened here, but there's a reason that the city of Ithaca has adopted this policy. There's a reason that, Williamsville did as well. So I'm actually very well versed on this. My classes and I discussed this. We actually listened to oral arguments over the internet and Zoomed with two of the attorneys in the case. So I'm very well versed in this case. So it's just my thought based on that. Again, maybe we don't make that policy tonight, especially because I want Steve to be able to review NICOM's guidance on it, but I do think we should take that seriously.
Because I think we're talking about two different things. Number one, the Supreme Court case that says public versus private,
Right.
but now we're talking about something different, which would be banning all comment versus allowing comment. And that's why I want to take a look at the
Yeah,
Nikon.
yep.
Uh,
So I'll forward that to everybody, on the board and we can discuss it from there.
Can you shoot us an email, you know, when you've had a chance to?
Oh, sure.
review
Yeah.
these?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
The court's been awarded $25,000 from JCAP, and it's gonna be used to refurbish the ladies' room. We're working with the County of Albany for electronic records keeping, and they're gonna start with the vital records and payroll from the past, and they picked up the records today, and they're gonna be scanning them for us. They have an outside company, which is eBizDocs in Menands, is doing the work. And the railroad crossing striping is gonna be done in April, once the weather gets a little warmer, so they can do that. That's all I got.
Okay, got a couple of updates. 37 Simmons, the warehouses that are being built are nearing completion. I think one of the buildings has a CO.
It's completed and it has CO.
So is that FPI's building?
Yes, they moved from 50 to over there.
So that's 100,000 square foot of, warehouse space that is now complete, and the second building should be done soon. I think they're doing.
There's one tenant in there already, or is it gonna be in there?
Yeah. 236 Broadway, the Mail Works is still doing renovations on the old, Blumberg, Law Book building. 431 Broadway, Regeneron is working on their fencing and some other improvements, including changing the sign.
They changed the sign already.
They did?
They put a sign up.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, last week.
45 Broadway, that's Simmons Machine Tool. They're still working on a potential pilot with the Colony IDA to build their innovation center. Let's see, 35 Broadway, I think the Soldier On is moving very quickly. The interior stairwell is coming along. What else? Mentioned the electronic records. The treasurer's position has been posted on the village website for anyone who has any candidates for that. The solar simplified, solar energy, campaign has reached over 150 users. I think, Mike, did you get in? All right. The Ganser Smith Park bathrooms, Tony Lapari has, assisted in organizing some volunteer labor to help build those bathrooms as quickly as possible. And so that work is going to start very soon so that we can get them done before
We ripped
this.
it all out yesterday.
So we're working with just running the plans by Labella to make sure that everything looks okay. And then they're going to get started on that. It's going to cost us a fraction of the money that it initially was going to cost. The Broadway lights here on the bridge are mostly repaired.
Yeah, there's 12 that aren't, that they had to order parts for.
Let's see, the Youth Easter Parade will be held on Sunday, March 24th from 1:30 to 3:30, held right here. There's a rumor going around about the renovation of the Hutton Street Park on the corner of Hutton and Amsterdam. No plan has been submitted yet. Nothing is going to take place until we have a full plan in place and a community group is organized in order to figure out what that park should be. And so the only work that has been done there so far is cleaning it up. So everybody can take it a step back a little bit. I think that's it. That's all I got done. Any trustees reports?
The only thing I would mention is that, I'm going to start, making preparations for the Earth Day cleanup.
Talk about Little River?
And, oh, the Little
Yeah.
River, yeah, so we're, next meeting is this Wednesday. Matt, who had just left, put together an agenda for us, and we're gonna be looking at the property owners, and we're gonna be discussing, outreach and, the individuals and, people of interest, organization of interest that we should be contacting, touch base with.
What day is the, Earth Day thing?
Wednesday, oh, the Earth Day. Earth Day is actually on Monday, April 22nd. So what I think we're looking at is either Saturday or Sunday for the actual cleanup.
Of the, before it.
Yeah, prior to.
We did it on Saturday last year. didn't
We did it on Saturday last time, right? And if I were to contact the school about seeing if there were kids that were
Yeah,
interested.
so I was gonna say in comments, the PTA president already sent an email to Laura Cernick and Meg about, coordinating that. So if you already have a meeting scheduled, let us know. We
There
can.
hasn't been a meeting scheduled, no, there's.
Okay, so maybe we can,
Does the Saturday before work?
yes, I think so. I think that'd be fine. There's some
Saturday
firefighter
the
things
20th.
happening that day. There's a firefighter there or something like that, but as long as it's earlier in the day, it should be fine, Saturday the 20th. I think we had originally been looking at the 27th, but now it's like opening weekend for baseball and the father-daughter dance, and there's already a ton of things going on that day.
Yeah.
So weekend, the 20th, 21st would definitely be a better weekend.
If it were Sunday, would that be better, or that?
I think Saturday's probably a better day.
Saturday's probably better for most people,
Most
especially if
people.
you're looking at like
Okay.
getting going in the morning, I
Right.
assume.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, we can, if you're the contact for the village, we can look you in. Like I said, that there's already a group started, so we can
Oh, okay, great.
add you into that list and
Yes.
work on planning.
Tim, for Wednesday, we're meeting at 280, right?
Yeah, we're meeting at the village
Yeah.
office.
Downstairs?
4 o'clock, yes.
Okay, good. I will be there.
What's next?
Public comment.
There we go.
Okay.
That happens.
So Friday night and Saturday, there's a performance. I know they've been working really hard and they're really excited. So if you have the time,
What time?
check
What
it out.
was that? I'm sorry.
I think it's 7 o'clock on.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock on
The
Friday.
kids at the school are doing Moana, 6 o'clock on Friday and 11:30 on Saturday.
$11:30 on Saturday.
Mhm.
Okay. Anyone else? Go ahead, Chuck.
Just a couple thoughts on the social media. As I understood the ruling, it was, that you can't block individuals from accessing any social media. I don't believe that it requires the public to have an opportunity to give their input on social media. My thought would be that it would be a prudent move to block commenting, just so you don't have a problem in the future. Alternatively, if we wanted to follow Molly's lead, you could do that, but you really have to install some pretty heavy duty filters, including Hitler and whatever else. And it's certainly possible that there is something out there in the public domain now as far as publicly available filters for municipalities. Just my thoughts.
That's a good point.
Are those apps that are available for plug-in?
It would just be, there's a filter in Facebook where you could just grab this file and dump it in, presuming it exists. It probably does.
Thank you, Chuck.
Mike?
This is follow on Chuck's question. The 9 times, if you allow someone to post it and then they post it, can you delete it? Or once they post it, you have to leave it out there? So you posted it, give a chance for somebody to read it, and then you get rid of it? Can you do that? Or do you have to leave the comment out there?
Off the top of my head, I can't remember which of those two it is.
I think you
I'll-
have to leave
I
it.
think you have to.
You have to research
You can't
Yeah,
take it
what
to
you
the
said to me,
county
I
to
feel.
leave
Yeah,
it.
now you have a liability issue. Person, you know,
That was the point of the ruling.
violating
They didn't want you
somebody's
to
First
keep
Amendment.
stuff you liked politically and not keep stuff you didn't like politically.
Right,
Right.
and so that's how some municipalities solve that. If you don't post any, if it's for informational purposes only, there's no comments, period, so. But I'll, as I said, I'll forward board the opinion piece from NICOM.
Anyone wants to listen to oral arguments on that, let me know. I can send you my lesson plan. And,
Anyone else? Cindy?
Good news, 2 golf carts today left the plaza. So we're down 2 of that massive sea of golf carts that drives in.
Got ways to go.
I saw them.
It's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just one more, back to the Earth Day, celebration. Is it possible that an invitation to other people in the community can go out?
We usually put something in the activities and it is, made a public, invitation to come and help and yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And we had quite a few people come last year. It was great.
That would be great, thank you.
Scott?
Yeah, Scott Hobson, 10 Hampton Street, I'm Menands, obviously. I just wanted to offer my support for putting in some playground equipment at the Hutton Street Park area. I'm very excited about this village. My wife and I moved here 6 years ago to start our family. It's an amazing place. I think we all agree it's an amazing place, amazing people. South Menands is a great neighborhood. It's very walkable, and it's got a lot of character. It's a very great place to live. But one of the problems that we've noticed is there's not a lot of places to walk to. And if you're a family, you need a place to go to meet other people in the neighborhood, right? I don't want these people to just be people who live around me. I want them to be my neighbors. I want to become their friends. I want families to get together and build a community. I want my kids to be able to play. And I think about this a lot when it comes to giving places, third places for kids to be that's not school or work, obviously not work, but like home, right? School, home, being a third place, a place to, have a little bit of independence, to have some fun, to meet other people. We say like, oh, we don't give, kids these days, they just want to stay inside and play on the iPad, right? Why don't they go outside anymore? It's because we're not giving them a good place to go, right? We've gotten rid of all the great places to go and hang out. I think it's extremely important. South Menands is, I think, especially important because there is a lack of a walkable community play area in South Menands, right? We have Gansner Smith, and I think we'll all agree, Gansner Smith is amazing, but it's too far for the people of South Menands to walk to. You have to get in a car and drive there. And so by putting in a small playground in the village property that we already own, we can get the most out of that land and we can keep making the community better and more livable and just overall, a better place to be, right? A more attractive place to be. So I just want to offer my strong support. I think it's a great idea. So thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Mike?
In the mayor's report, you listed the statistical comparison of police jurisdictions. Did you cover that?
Yeah, we're gonna table that for the next meeting.
Wow.
I hope you, well, they'll know, but we have time. We have till April, isn't it?
April, yes.
Yeah.
April.
We still have another activities to go.
We're good?
Sure.
Anyone else? Anybody have anything else?
Anything for
I think the
executive?
Hutton Street is actually a great idea to get a few more pieces of equipment or
Yeah.
clean it up or something. And I know you said it's tabled for right now, but
So we actually, Tim and I worked on a funding, application to explore what funds we could get, from Albany County,
Right.
as part of some of the ARPA money they had left over. And we wanted to start with that. If we can get a pot of money and then explore what we can actually do with that money, with community input, we felt that was the best path forward. That way, everybody in the area could have a comment about what they think the future of that park should be. really, it's just nothing but grass right now. And so the first step was to kind of clean it up to see exactly what was left. And then the next step is to, like, for instance, was the fence salvageable? And then the next step is gonna be, how much money do we have and what can we do with that money? And what does the community think is the best use of that money to, to make it into something? This all started with Scott's question about why doesn't the South End have anything? And I think it's a fair question. We've worked very hard over the last decade, to enhance Kansas Smith Park with the bathroom renovations. I mean, that's a huge step forward. I know the bathrooms have been, a sort of a nightmare, for a while. So that's a huge step forward. So I think it's time to spread the love around.
Yeah.
And so that's what started that discussion.
And there may be some other funding sources as well. I serve on the Colony Community Development Committee, and that's another grant option as well. So there may be a few different places that this money could come from, but as we've learned, as I've learned, playgrounds are not cheap, but we also want to make sure we get a good one, so that it lasts and is and that the kids enjoy it. So it's something we are working on, and we are in favor of. But we will get this done.
That's great. I applaud your commitment, all of you. This is so important, and it's a really important legacy for the community.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful to hear.
Absolutely. And thank you for bringing it to the board just about a year ago when you emailed me.
Yes.
So-
Yep. Thanks.
Anything else? We need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks, everyone.
What's the deadline for activities? Thursday?
Friday.
Friday. So this Friday?
Well, I'm out today.